My brother owns a small wood cleaning business for restaurants. Occasionally, however, he'll get a call from the homeowner about cleaning the roof with his pressure washer. Sometimes I tag along when he needs me to hold the ladder. It's not particularly stable. He'd pay me $40 for handing out 50 flyers at a time in a rich neighborhood, but no one ever called him back. Finally, I decided to hand out some of these flyers to my neighborhood. I figured that no one would call him from my neighborhood either, so why would it matter if I handed them out? I was shocked to learn that the day after I posted these flyers, he received a call from a kind, frail-sounding old woman. My brother was wondering if I could go with him and keep the ladder steady for him. "I'll pay you 20, he said. "Fine. You know my poor ass could use the 20, I said, hanging up the phone. That woman was adamant to get the job done by tonight. She said that she was having company over and she wanted her house to look spotless. My brother picked me up at 7 and we drove over to the next street over. I was new to the neighborhood, so I didn't know any of these neighbors. I didn't even leave my street to explore my surroundings. We knocked on the door and a woman in her late 70s greeted us in. She was wearing a black shawl and a white, billowing dress that touched right at her ankles. The house wasn't in great condition on the inside or the outside, so I was kind of confused as to why she was so concerned about her roof and gutters. "It won't take longer than an hour and a half," my brother said, making her sign some basic paperwork. I looked around the old home, inspecting every inch that I could see within a safe distance. She had a lot of crosses in her living room, but something seemed odd about them. She seemed like one of those crazy old religious women who hate everything and everyone. "Victoria, come on," my brother said, motioning me to the door. The job was boring. My brother always wanted me to keep an eye on things, as if some sort of meteor was going to fall out of the sky or something. "What the fuck?" I heard my brother yell. "Everything okay, Al?" I yelled. "Hold the ladder," he said excitedly. That was when I saw it. An old Ouija board box. It appeared to be from like the 50s or 60s or something. It was worn and tattered. It seemed as though the board had been up there for a while. My brother lifted up the box to find that the board was in perfect condition despite the strange weather we'd been having in the last couple weeks in Iowa. "I'm keeping it," he said happily. "You sure the missus is going to be okay with that?" I asked. My brother's wife was extremely superstitious and wary of things like this. He dialed up her number and asked to keep the Ouija board. I could hear her yell from a few inches away. He hung up the phone. "It's all yours," he said, handing the box over to me. "Who says I want it?" I reluctantly said, pushing away the board. "Seriously, Victoria? The thing is awesome," he said, motioning me to the car with the board. I waited inside as my brother finished talking to the old lady. I held the board in my hand and I knew something felt strange about it. It was as if I had heard some sort of thumping coming from the box. It sounded like the board had a heartbeat. I took the box home and put it down in the basement where I keep my storage. I didn't want to be anywhere near that thing, to be honest. That was 1 week ago. Strange things have been happening in my home. On 3 different occasions, I have heard children's laughter. It sounded like a kid was laughing right behind me, but when I turn around, no one is there. The light switches have been turning on and off in the middle of the night at around 3 a.m., like clockwork. My dog has been barking at nothing for the past week. I watch as his teeth are constantly snarled, and minutes later, he runs away and yelps, hiding in the nearest closet. But the strange part has yet to come. I decided to take the Ouija board back to the woman. I knocked on the door, but no one answered. That's when I noticed the for sale sign in the front yard that wasn't there a week ago. I decided to call the number or the real estate sign. "Hi there, I'm looking for Miss Cashtpin, the old lady that lives here." "I don't know Miss Cashtpin. The house has been for sale for 2 years now. No one will buy it, or even come near it. It's been completely abandoned." The saleswoman paused. "Are you actually interested?" But before I could answer, I hung up the phone. Was it possible that the only woman that called us was just some sort of drifter playing a practical joke? Or was it something more ominous than I thought? Either way, I'm stuck with this Ouija board and I'm starting to think that I'm losing my mind. I don't know who to call. I don't know what to do with it. I tried to burn the thing, but it won't work. The board must be like flame resistant or something. I threw it away in the trash, but it ended up back at my house. I'm all out of ideas. I need some sort of help. My dog isn't only scared of being in the house anymore. He's scared of me. My brother and I bought a Ouija board about a year ago while our parents were on a trip. It wouldn't respond when my brother would use it, but when I played alone, it gave me answers every time that I wanted. Before this, I had already experienced some strange things, like hearing voices, episodes of sleep paralysis, stuff like that. I believe it all started about 4 years ago, when my brother and I decided to try something that we saw on YouTube called the dancing chair ritual. Basically, it said play the song Tiptoe Through the Tulips. If the song stopped, it meant that you had summoned a spirit. If it played all the way through, you won the game. If the chair flipped over, you were never supposed to go into that room alone again. We were around 15 and 17 at the time and were very skeptical. During the ritual, the music stopped. We didn't think much of it and just played the rest of the song and then laughed it off. The next night around 3:50 a.m., our bedroom door started slowly rotating. I pointed it out and my brother called out, Papa?" Nothing responded. He said it again, and right after he did, the door handle started shaking violently, like someone was trying to rip it off. My brother yelled, "Stop!" And it immediately stopped. He got up, looked around, and no one was there. I really wish I had filmed it. A week or two later, we were at our cousin's and heard the piano start to play. We were confused because all the adults were helping with the move, so we asked around. Everyone said that they hadn't touched the piano. This happened shortly after our great-grandfather passed away. When we asked our dad if he had played the piano, he said no. What terrified me was what he said next. "No, son. Whatever was here when your papa was still alive is now gone." That sent chills down my spine. I also have a video that I can probably get from my dad of a sound that honestly seems like something is dragging a body or something heavy from upstairs. I'll see if I can find it. Sorry for the long message. Just need help. I want to start by saying that all I know about my roommate is that she's a young woman in her 20s who works from home during late night hours. sleeping during the day, and is very private. She keeps entirely to herself. The house I moved into was advertised on Craigslist as having a room for rent in a 3-bedroom home with only one rule. I must respect my roommate's peace and privacy at all times due to her work. I'm a single man in my 30s. I work full-time in an office about 30 miles away during the day, and I'm usually asleep during the hours that she's awake, so I didn't think much of it. It seems like a setup that would work just fine for me. When I arrived, I met the landlord. He lives elsewhere, and he gave me a brief tour of the house. I was immediately impressed. A 2-story, older model home in decent neighborhood, relatively well-maintained, and with shockingly cheap rent. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. My roommate occupies the master bedroom with its own private bathroom, located upstairs at the end of the hallway next to the unused bedroom. During the walkthrough, the landlord suggested that I take the bottom floor bedroom. It's larger than the one upstairs, sits next to a standalone bathroom, and doesn't share a wall with anyone. Perfect for helping me follow that one rule. Don't disturb my roommate. It made sense to me. I could tell the landlord was eager to rent the room. He mentioned that the woman had lived there for 2 months but suddenly terminated her lease without a notice, which had really disappointed him. I know there are questions people usually ask before moving into a privately owned place. In retrospect, I can think of a few big ones, but my credit was awful and I have an eviction on my record. Most apartments rejected me, so I was honestly just relieved that this man was willing to let me rent one without even requesting a background check. One question I did manage to ask was whether the other resident was home and whether I'd get to meet her. He gave me only a few details, what I've already shared, about her working nights and being quiet. He told me that her name was Elizabeth. When I asked if I could meet her, he had said that since it was daytime, she was asleep because of her graveyard shift. I thought it was all a bit sudden, but there I was, signing a lease, desperate and aware that my other options were very limited. And at that time of writing this, I've lived here for over a month. I'll add that to this day. I have never met or even seen Elizabeth. There have been times, especially early on, when I texted my landlord to ask if he was sure that Elizabeth lived there full-time. Could she be staying with her boyfriend? Does she live a busy social life? Family nearby that she visits days at a time? I asked because even though we're on separate floors, I'd expect to hear at least something occasionally. Fixing food in the kitchen, running the shower, or flushing the toilet. Watching TV. Does she even have a TV? But I know she lives here because she moves things. I'll come home from work and find my bedroom door open, my blanket from my bed tossed onto the sofa as if someone had used it. The kitchen table chairs will be rearranged like multiple people were sitting there having a meal while I was gone. I rarely use the table, and when I do, it's just one of the chairs. You might ask, why don't you just knock on the door? Try speaking to her. I have. I've knocked on her door late at night when she's supposedly working in there. It creeps me out. There's never any sound, no lights under the door, nothing, and the door is always locked. Not just with the doorknob lock, but with the deadbolt. I've tried leaving notes, taped clearly onto her door, asking questions. They vanish. No response. Just gone. I've stopped telling people in my real life about Elizabeth. Their reactions just freak me out. When I describe the situation, they just stare, waiting for the punchline that never comes. Some people joke about how she's a ghost, but when I don't laugh, they get quiet, uncomfortable. and then they just want to change the subject. When I'd only lived here about a week, coworkers asked why I hadn't met my own roommate yet. By week 2, I was so embarrassed I just lied and said that I had. Even now writing this, all the feelings I try to push down rise up again, the ones that I get every evening on the way home. Will today finally be the day that I see her and we can laugh all about this weirdness? Or will I come home to a kitchen full of cabinet doors and drawers wide open again for no reason? Yeah, that's right. No sense to it. Nothing out of place, like someone was looking for something, just ajar. One drawer halfway open, a cabinet door swung wide. What finally pushes me to write this down, 2 weeks before the point where the last tenant gave up, is what happened last night. I was watching TV in the living room downstairs. One light was on, the only light besides the screen. The switch for the light is just a few feet behind me. I didn't hear anyone come downstairs. I just heard the click of the switch. The light shut off, and suddenly I was in total darkness. I jumped from the sofa and turned around to see nothing but shadows, except for a dark figure quickly moving away into the kitchen. Horrified, I called out, "Elizabeth?" And that's when I heard the fast footsteps above me, racing up the stairs. Nowhere near where I'd seen the figure go. I ran to the switch, flipped it back on, and locked myself in my bedroom. I stayed up the entire night, staring at the door in fear. I don't know what to do. I haven't contacted the landlord yet, but I'm seriously considering it. I don't have anywhere else to go, but right now, even a motel sounds like a good idea. Hey everyone, I've been wanting to delve back into the whole allegedly true side of stuff. I've been wanting to do it for a little bit now, and I thought that this would be the perfect opportunity since I've got loads and loads of Ouija board stories. This is only 3 of them. I know that one of them isn't necessarily a Ouija board story, but I figured that it's a really good story and you guys would actually enjoy this. So if you're new here, possibly, even if you know it's probably not going to happen, the algorithm doesn't like me. But if you somehow are new and you liked what you heard, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure to turn on those post notifications as well, so when I post, you actually do get a notification, because every once in a blue moon, people are getting notifications, and you guys know how that is. But thanks for watching, really hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to check out the links in the description, Twitter, Instagram, everything like that, yada yada. But with that being said, stay safe, stay scary, and I'll see you in the next one.